All right, so let's start taking a look at molecules and asking if we can look at a molecule and tell whether it's going to be an acid or a base. So one thing to note that this is all contextual and that acidic and basic are relative. So something that's acidic in one set of conditions might act basic in another set of conditions. For the most part, our discussions are basically going to be centered around water. So when we say something is an acid, we mean that it's acting as an acid when added to water. When we say something is basic, we mean it's acting as a base when it's added to water. And so remember, acid-base reactions are a transfer of an H plus. So it's kind of like a tug of war over this H plus, right? So if we kind of have this AH bond plus some kind of B here, so what can happen here is that these lone pairs can attack this hydrogen, and then the electrons in this bond go onto this A. And so we can get an equilibrium here where now we have A minus plus HB plus, right? And then it can go the other way around, right? These electrons right here that moved onto this A can attack this H, and then the electrons can get kicked back onto this B. So it's all about this bond strength, this AH bond strength and this A or HB bond strength, right? So again, an acid-base reaction is the transfer of protons or transfer of H plus, which is essentially just a proton. And then who gets this H plus at the end or at equilibrium depends on the, we'll call it XH bond strength. So if you're thinking about an acid donating an H plus, that means that it's ready to give up this H plus, and so that means that this bond is very weak, right? It doesn't really want this H on here, so it's free to give it up. Whereas strong bases, on the other hand, have a really strong bond right here. They really want that H, and so they're going to form a strong bond to accept it, right? So in general, the weaker the bond, the easier it is to break, and thus the more acidic. And the opposite is true as well. The stronger the bond, it's easier to form, and thus more basic. So we'll take a look at some acids and some bases coming up.